Hi, I'm Bill, and I've played Metroid Prime 4, and I've seen the discourse about Metroid Prime 4. More specifically, this guy. Miles Mackenzie is, to put it kindly, divisive. Metroid is a series of atmospheric adventure games, and here's a guy who does quips.
You're alone, on a planet, with no hope of survival. But you're also not sitting next to Phil anymore in that cubicle, so... win?
That in itself is not necessarily a bad thing though. Honestly, I respect the attempt to give Samus a new best friend. A lot of the best video games, like Metroid, are loaded with atmosphere and tension, and some parts of them can be downright uncomfortable when you have to experience them alone. Developers know this. And sometimes they give us friends to journey alongside us, to have fun with us in the good times, and to help us get through the bad. This is my top 10 list of video game friendships I've enjoyed over my years of gaming. Will Miles make the list? Watch on to find out, then like and subscribe and join the comments to chat about your favourite video game friends. Some ground rules. It'll be one character per game series because, as you know, there are some games that could just fill this list all on their own, and we want to have a little bit of variety. Secondly, there will be some story spoilers for some of the entries, but I'm going to clearly signpost all of the spoilers. You don't have to skip ahead as soon as I mention a game that you might want to play in the future. If I'm going to spoil something about the story, I will tell you first and give you plenty of time to skip to the next chapter. Don't worry, you're safe here. I'm not responsible for the comments though, so you down there, please be good. I'll start us off at number 10 with Chloe from Life is Strange. In Life is Strange, we follow Max, a student who gains the ability to rewind time when she rescues her childhood friend Chloe at the start of the game. They drifted apart since childhood, but they click right back together as they start exploring the possibilities of Max's new time-bending powers.
I pledge allegiance to Max and the power for which she stands.
What follows is a beautiful rekindling of a friendship that I'm not going to spoil. The whole game is ultimately about Chloe and Max's relationship and how it develops through time rewinds and alternate realities, with Chloe staying basically constant throughout. Fun to be around, adventurous, always pushing Max to try new things, and funny.
I need very specific tiny tools.
Nerd alert. My stepdad has a fully stocked garage, and he actually is a tiny tool.
I love how the game explores a rekindling of a childhood friendship long thought past. It shows us how, even though we can drift away from someone due to circumstance or whatever, that spark that leads you to deeply connect with another person in the right situation can come right back. It doesn't always happen, but when it does, it's magical. And look, I know Chloe is kind of toxic and she's mean to Joyce, but she's a damaged, interesting character and there's a lot of depth to the relationship, and she's got cool hair, and that's why she's number 10. There are many choices you could make from Cyberpunk 2077 that would be absolutely valid. This game has some amazing characters, and I loved getting to know Judy, Panam, River, and Kerry through their side quests. There's not a bad one among them. And of course, the way your relationship develops with the legend that is Johnny Silverhand, voiced by the real-life legend Keanu Reeves, is amazing wherever it goes. I have to give Rogue a shout out as well. She's just really fun to be around, and although I wasn't super keen on the driving mechanics in this game, Claire gave me a reason to follow her questline through to the end. Victor is a real one, and he could very easily be the pick, as could Songbird or Soul from Phantom Liberty, both of which have some really interesting development throughout the story, but no. This pick goes to V's original tomb, Jackie Wells.
Getting one of my good feelings.
About what?
About us. It's a kind of chemistry, you know?
There are spoilers here, but only for the tutorial stage, so I'm not going to worry about it. Skip ahead though if you want, because even though it's early game, there are some spoilers here. Unlike the other characters in this list, Jackie is only with us for a small part of our adventure, but he makes such a huge impact right from the start. In my opinion, this guy is the outright best tutorial-giving NPC in any game ever made, period. You settle into Night City immediately because Jackie settles you in. He teaches you how the world works, how the game mechanics work, in ways that are so natural and so endearing. Your relationship starts with him pointing a gun at you and ends with him dying for you.
Biochip. Don't do it. For me.
And the journey from beginning to end is one of how two people find almost immediate chemistry. Jackie's your best friend at summer camp. You recall your brief time together as a montage of incredible adventures the likes of which you will never experience the same again.
This is going pretty smooth, right? Right?
Man, are you the silver lining type?
Jackie's so sure of himself and his positive outlook on the world. He's a criminal for hire, so of course he's doing things that are, at best, morally grey because that's the job, and he understands how mercenary relationships can be, shall we say, fleeting. But somehow he's maintained his optimism, his love for his ma, and a friendship with V that would endure forever if only he could. Pour one out for Jackie Wells, the best tune a merc can have. The Legend of Zelda series has had some great characters, but they're rarely kind of deep or complex. Nintendo's characters tend to be fairly simple, one note. Ocarina of Time's Navi is your friend immediately when she meets you, and she's your friend at the end of the game too. It's simple, it's easy, it's comforting, and sometimes that's what you want, and that's fine. But it's not interesting. Midna is interesting. The world of Twilight Princess is a twisted one, and the darkness of Twilight doesn't lend itself well to friendship. But sometimes in sharing hardship is when the deepest friendships are formed. This one's a slow burner. She's initially hostile to Link, promising to help Wolf Link out of prison in exchange for his obedience. But she needs Link more than Link needs Midna, and she knows it. I get the feeling Link does too, at least after that initial prison break. But as they stick together, they become closer through their adversity and through small moments as Midna begins to open up about herself and her past. I won't spoil it, but it's a very satisfying journey. We've all had friendships that started through circumstance, not by choice, then go on to become some of the most meaningful. Number 7. I just really like Rotty Tops. Shantae has so many fun, colourful characters, and they're just a joy to be around. And they mostly all care about each other in pretty straightforward ways. But Shantae's friendship with Rotty Tops is less obvious. There's a little spoiler here for Shantae and the Pirate's Curse, which is a really good game, so maybe skip ahead if you don't want one of its sweetest moments spoiled. Rotty Tops is a zombie whom Shantae meets in the first game when Shantae needs Rotty Tops to open a dungeon. She will, but only if Shantae beats her in a race, and if she loses, Rotty Tops gets to eat her brain. She really wants to eat Shantae's brain, but we've all had friends like that. Rotty Tops is one of several side characters in the Shantae series, and I look forward to her appearance in each game more than any other.
Oh, can we just go already? Can you at least give her a moment? She's trying to say goodbye. Who died and put you in charge? Ow! Tyrant! That's my hair!
They clearly become close, but Rotty Tops is never quite able to share with Shantae how she feels about her, and how much she means to her. But they both know it. Now that's really a friendship we've all had. In Shantae and the Seven Sirens, Rotty Tops stows away in Shantae's luggage because she doesn't think Shantae would invite her to the Half Genie Festival. But of course, once Shantae finds this out, she tells Rotty Tops she wanted to invite her, but couldn't find her because she was hiding in the luggage. The sweet moment in the Pirate's Curse is when Shantae meets a pre-zombified Rotty Tops in the Village of Lost Souls. She doesn't remember who she is, but she dreams of a really close friend upon whom she always plays tricks, but actually for whom she really cares. When Shantae realises that that's her, she tells Rotty Tops they'll always be friends, and I don't know, it's just kind of lovely and relatable. Sometimes it's good though to tell your close friends and family what they mean to you, and maybe Rotty Tops reminds us we don't always have to be shy about that stuff. Isn't this a sweet video? I hope you think so too. You can support the channel by subscribing to the Patreon or YouTube memberships, or just subscribing and liking and commenting and all that good stuff. Whatever you want. Either way though, I hope you're having as nice a time here as I am. Next is Veronica from Fallout New Vegas. I knew I wanted a Fallout character in here, and the obvious pick people tend to make is Dogmeat. And that's a great pick too, honestly, but it's a different Dogmeat in each game. And what about Rex? Does Rex not deserve love too? Is he not also a good boy? Ultimately, Dogmeat though is a dog, and as you've seen from this list so far, I'm looking for relationships that have some complexity and nuance to them, and the goodest boy loves you unconditionally no matter what, and his history is he's a lonely dog, whom you meet once, then he follows you forever.
You seem like an okay guy. Okay then, let's stick together.
Great character, no notes, but not what I'm looking for here. New Vegas is my favourite Fallout game, and I could almost toss a three-sided coin between Cass, Boone and Veronica. Boone's backstory is incredibly powerful and tragic, and it's left him really slow to trust and form relationships. Breaking through that and getting closer to him is rewarding, but as a character, I just found him too serious. Cass is the opposite. Her politics are interesting and complex, but her character is someone who's seen tragedy and is drowning it out with whiskey. And she's a very cool cowboy, out for a self-destructive good time, but she softens as she gets closer to the player character and reveals more about herself, and is cool, and she's cool, but I did find it kind of predictable personally. Plus, I'm always the goody two-shoes in Fallout games, and we just didn't click. Veronica's got nuance and intrigue and isn't so easily measured. The Brotherhood of Steel, a kind of religious sect full of scribes and soldiers on a mission to hoard technology, is the only family she's ever known. She's fiercely loyal to them when you first meet her, but as you get to know her, the cracks start to show.
High Elder Maxon didn't found us to be botanists, Veronica.
I've always been drawn to friendships where you're kind of helping each other to figure things out, and the religious element of this one I think appeals particularly to my past as well, which I think ultimately is what draws me to Veronica over the others. But honestly, all the companion relationships in Fallout games are like this. You're in a position to help someone deal with a situation, and you're helping them figure out how they want to come out the other end and how to get there, and that's a rewarding, deep and meaningful kind of friendship. There are multiple ways Veronica's story can go, but there are no spoilers here. I hope you experience it for yourself, and if you already have, you know why I'm not saying much about it.
Also, she's voiced by Felicia Day, so what's not to like?
Top 5 now, and remember, these are the most meaningful to me personally. You might not agree, and that's cool, that's what the comments are for. But I won't hear a bad word against number 5. My boy, Urdnot Rex from the Mass Effect series. Mass Effect is another series full of great characters. Interesting, well written, well acted. Mostly.
You're kidding. You're not kidding.
But Rex stands above all of them because I named my cat after him. Yeah, okay, but there's a reason I did that. Rex is hard as nails when you meet him and really never changes. A lot of video game relationships tend to involve characters finding their softer side as you get closer to them, but not Rex. Rex is who he is. But that doesn't mean he's not a complex, interesting character. Spoilers for Mass Effect 1, 2 and 3. All of them. If you've not played them, just skip this section. It's a big section, but you'll be fine. You first meet Rex outside a bar when he's kicked out by security for going in to assassinate a merc named Fist. We're going to watch the scene because the introduction to Rex is fantastic.
Witnesses saw you making threats in Fist's bar. Stay away from him.
I don't take orders from you.
This is your only warning, Rex.
You should warn Fist. I will kill him.
You want me to arrest you?
I want you to try.
Go on. Get out of here.
Yes, human.
That's who he is. He's tough, but he's direct and he's honest. He's not mean, not really.
Bottom line, killing for credits simplifies things.
He doesn't put much value on life, but he won't hurt you for the sake of hurting you. He might kill you if it's the most efficient solution to the problem he's trying to solve. He's also very funny and self-aware.
That's why I love hanging out with you guys. Why shoot something once when you can shoot it 46 more times?
He does not change really at any point throughout the trilogy. His relationship with the player changes for sure, but he doesn't. And that's kind of rare in gaming. Because it's an interactive medium, everything that happens in single-player games naturally revolves around the player and reacts to the player. And I think in character development, this can be taken too far. The obvious example is when characters are player sexual, where they're always open to romantic encounters regardless of the player character's gender. It's one way in which these characters don't really have the appearance of having their own agency. And in a lot of games, of course, there are characters who will change and become meaner or kinder based on the player character's actions. That's a cool system, but it doesn't make for an immersive storyline with interesting characters because that's fundamentally not how our real-life relationships work. By your words and your deeds, you might inspire someone to want to change themselves, but you cannot change them. Rex is, I think, an example of a developer understanding this and getting it right. Because Rex's ideas do change. His motivations shift a little bit later in the series. He's inspired by the player character, but his personal growth is within his control. And even right up to the third game in the series, he has his own red lines and what's important to him. Here's your big final spoiler warning for Mass Effect 3. See, throughout the series there's this thing called the genophage, a genetic mutation that stops Rex's species, the Krogan, basically from breeding. It stops them reproducing too much. It makes it so that only a very small percentage of fetuses actually survive into childbirth. So it's pretty brutal. It was developed by another alien race, the Solarians, and then used by the Turians to quell the Krogan rebellions. This is undeniably the worst kind of war crime and is an obvious genocide against the Krogans, but it was seen as a necessary last resort after 300 years of relentless Krogan expansion. See, after the Krogans helped the Citadel in the Rachni Wars, the Citadel gave them a bunch of former Rachni planets to colonize. But because the Krogan planet is particularly hostile, Krogan had got used to just having lots and lots of babies, knowing that not all of them would survive. So when they went to breed on less hostile planets, it led to this massive explosion in Krogan population. I love lore, don't you, Minerva? Don't you love lore? You love wet food, don't you? I'll feed you in a minute. This, combined with the naturally aggressive tendencies of the Krogan and their prowess in war, meant that they very quickly started conquering other planets, and the Citadel and other species tried diplomacy and tried war for 300 years. Nothing worked until the Genophage. Does that make it okay? Well, that's up to the player.
Do you honestly believe curing the Genophage will end in lasting peace?
In Mass Effect 3, you get the option to finally cure the Genophage, but you can't decide to keep it around and keep Rex on your team no matter what you do. Rex won't fight alongside someone who maintains a genocide against his people, and when you put it like that, no, of course not. Who would?
I will honor our friendship, though, by shooting you in the head and making it quick!
If Mass Effect were any other kind of media, this will be obvious, but because it's a video game and it's a power fantasy, we expect that the player should be able to get whatever outcome they want. I think it's actually pretty bold of BioWare to have these red lines that will not be crossed. It's not even a gamified one, like how characters in Fallout will sort of keep a tally of how many times you slaughtered all the puppies and how many times you didn't slaughter all the puppies, and will give you a point score based on, I don't know, how many puppies, and will either stay with you or disappear, and when it's one puppy too many, off they go. Like, Fallout games are great, but outside of some individually quite interesting, morally grey decisions, the morality system is pretty simple. You do too many evil things and some characters will leave you, you do too many good things and some characters will leave you. Sometimes it's faction based, where you do too many good or bad things for particular factions and then it's just a point score and off they go at a certain threshold. You know, it's less often that games have kind of story beats where it's like the character just will not go over this line. The character cannot conscionably stay with you if you do X. Mass Effect fans are just now starting to type Vermeer in the comments, and I see you. It's spelled with 2 I's. There is a point in the first Mass Effect game which is almost exactly the same. There's a cure for the Genophage and you're tasked with destroying it, and Rex doesn't want you to.
I've been loyal to you so far. Hell, you did more for me than my family ever did. But if I'm going to keep following you, I need to know we're doing it for the right reasons.
But if he trusts you enough, you can convince him to stand down and not get killed by one of your squad mates, Ashley, you dick. That one is gamified, and to keep Rex alive I had to look at a guide on my first playthrough. You need 8 points in Paragon or Renegade, or you must have completed Rex's side quest and picked the right dialogue options, and then you get the obvious good and correct outcome of Rex staying alive and destroying the tainted Genophage cure that Saren was using to enslave the Krogan.
You've made your point.
It's what it is. I much prefer BioWare's approach with Rex in Mass Effect 3. You could have done everything Rex ever wanted up till this point, fully aligned yourself with the Krogan as a complete devotee to their cause and even their expansion. But if you make this one decision, none of it matters. Rex will try and kill you. You can't keep him in your party, it's him or you. If you try to hide it from him, he will find out.
I know what you did.
We can provide you our very best scientists to build the Crucible, and the full support of our fleets.
If I sabotage the cure.
Now it is true that "if you genocide my people, I will fight you" is the reddest of all red lines, and at least for Rex, not a complicated moral question.
I am Urdnot Rex, and this is my planet!
But it's still brave of BioWare to only let players live out their power fantasy of remaking the world as they want to make it within restrictions that exist because their characters are well-written characters with their own ideas and motivations. And at the end, you do get to decide basically the entire fate of the universe going forwards. And there was a lot of criticism of the Mass Effect 3 ending at the time because 3 games worth of loads of branching decisions carried through from game to game ultimately ended up being press one of these 3 buttons. One of them will destroy the universe, the other one will not destroy the universe, and the third thing. And in response to the criticism, BioWare released a free DLC to extend the endings to show some of what happened to your companions after the conclusion of the story. But at least for my complaints about the ending, they fully missed the point. I didn't want to remake the universe. I wanted to rent a flat with Liara and play video games with Joker and have Rex over for a drink because you know damn well I destroyed the genophage. But no, the ending is not that. All of a sudden the game pulls a Deus Ex on us when we didn't want a Deus Ex. That's not what the game had been about up until this point for me, and I'm sure, like, almost all of the other players as well. Anyway, that's a whole other video. Up until the ending, the Mass Effect series is all about friendships, and you could pick almost any of them. There are romance plots with most of them, even Garrus from Mass Effect 2 onwards, which is a particularly sweet and funny line you could take as a femshep.
It'll either be a night to treasure or a horrible interspecies awkwardness thing.
But whoever you romance, or even if it's nobody, you're still building meaningful friendships with some great characters. Tali's background makes her romance particularly interesting, but if you just want to nerd out with her about spaceships, that's a totally rewarding relationship too. I mean, I'd argue the romances are a bit overly simplistic, because they're all, if you insert the right words at the right time, sex falls out. And that's how you get incels. The friendships, I think, are much better. And Rex is my favourite for how much of a bro he is throughout the series, and how he grows closer to Shepard without fundamentally changing who he is, and always sticking to his convictions and not the players. I've spoiled the start and the possible end of the friendship with Not Rex, but there's so much in the middle left unspoiled, so if you haven't played the Mass Effect trilogy, or if you have but you just haven't paid sufficient attention to Rex, go do that and thank me later. Easily one of the most rewarding friendships in video games, and that's probably in part because BioWare didn't try and ham-fistedly jam a romance in there.
Shepard.
Rex?
Commander Shepard. Shepard.
Rex? Grunt?
Shepard.
I've just realised half this video so far is about Rex, and wherever the video goes from here, the real lesson of it is that we should all go and replay the original Mass Effect trilogy. Number 4 might have a similar effect though, because it's Karlach from Baldur's Gate 3. Actually, for very similar reasons to Rex, because Karlach is also a strong and well-defined and consistent character, played by the brilliant, BAFTA-nominated Samantha Beard. Baldur's Gate 3 is, I think, the only game I've ever played where I know all of the main cast voice actors by name. All of their performances are some of the best, if not the best, I've ever seen in a video game, or really in anything. All incredible, but Neil Newbon especially, who I think might not be so much my favourite actor in video games, but my favourite actor in anything. Or maybe it's Michael Sheen. I'm always pleased to see Helena Bonham Carter turn up in something as well. Anyway, whatever. Neil Newbon's up there with them, and so's Jennifer English. And the fact that we get them in video games, after decades of video game voice acting being just an afterthought done on the cheap by the studios, is really exciting, and proof that today is the best day ever to be a gamer. We've come a long way since Resident Evil.
That was too close. You were almost a Jill sandwich.
You're right.
Anyway, some of my picks have been a little spicy, I know, but Karlach feels like a safe pick. Light spoilers now, but I'll stay off any big ones, so you're fine. Unless you want to go into the game completely blind, do stick around.
It's nice to be somewhere where good is still possible.
She's got a tragic backstory, but she doesn't lay it all out right away, and that backstory has left her desperately wanting a genuine connection with another person of the kind you just really don't find in the Hells. She's also fiercely loyal and keen to trust people, even having been let down in the past, because no matter what happens, she won't let the goodness and optimism get beaten out of her. She calls you soldier, but she's the soldier in how she powers through and keeps her chin up no matter what challenges she faces. Like Rex, she is confident in herself and who she is, and she will learn and she will grow, but she won't change. She is pure and wholesome, and she stays that way throughout. The reason I like the friendship with her particularly, even more than the romance really, is getting to see her trust you more throughout the game's first act, and then, despite all her personal tragedy, she is capable of experiencing absolute joy, and is so excited to share it with you when she does.
Isn't it mad? How good life is.
She's so much fun to be around that she's like that friend you spend time with and you're so elated to see them smile and laugh about the simplest things. We all know a person who we could go down to the lake with and they'd see a frog and they'd go, "Oh my god, it's a frog!" and they're the happiest in that moment that any person has ever been. And it rubs off on you as well. Hopefully you've got someone in mind, but if not, I hope you meet them sometime. One of my happiest moments this year was just seeing Claudia see a tortoise.
This is the best day. The best day! Well, thanks, Flo. Hearing a bunch of desperate horror has ruined my day, which I suppose was the point.
Karlach's story is full of moments like this, and you know almost all the way through about the sadness that lurks behind her eyes that makes the joy all that more meaningful. And you know that sadness has no chance against her optimism and her infectious zest for life. And that's why we love Karlach. No more spoilers for Baldur's Gate 3, it's not really retro anyway. Onwards! We're into the top 3 now, so these are the best of the best friends in all of gaming. Will Miles Mackenzie make the list? Well, he's not number 3 because it's Alex Vance from the Half-Life series, but especially from Half-Life 2 Episode 1. Valve said themselves that with Half-Life 2 Episode 1 they set out to make a game all about Alex, where she joins Gordon pretty much throughout, and the new set of AI routines for Alex was the big exciting new feature for that game. We first meet Alex in Half-Life 2 when she rescues Gordon from Combine soldiers.
Dr. Freeman, I presume.
The Combine being the alien race who'd conquered Earth a little while ago in the 7-Hour War. I love the idea of the 7-Hour War. It says exactly what it is and tells you everything you need to know about that conflict. She travels with Gordon on and off during the adventure, getting inconveniently separated multiple times, and in Episode 1 they escape City 17 together. Can I tell you a secret? We are, by my estimate now, more than 26 minutes into this video, so I'm going to assume nobody else is watching and it's just me and you here. And I think I can trust you. Okay. I don't like scary bits in video games. I don't like being scared. I don't like horror games. And the Fallout series and the Half-Life series are pretty much at my limit. And there are parts of them that I dreaded. Particularly Ravenholm in Half-Life 2, when a convenient cave-in separates Gordon from Alex, and you're forced to brave Ravenholm alone. At least until you meet Father Grigori.
You've stirred up hell. A man after my own heart.
At which point Ravenholm becomes a lot more bearable with another character alongside you.
Catch! Good.
Everything's much more scary when you're alone. Alex's presence in Half-Life Episode 1 made it so much easier for me to enjoy the darker parts of the game. Even in the abandoned multi-storey car park early on, where it's underground, it's pitch black, the only light is your torch and headcrab zombies are bursting out of the shadows, I wasn't too scared to enjoy it because I wasn't alone. Alex is the capable friend who has it all together, who's there to help you through the hard times with confidence, competence, and a couple of jokes at the end to help you put it all behind you. But Gabe, I know you're watching, and I did not appreciate the bit with the stalkers, okay?
Oh no. It's a stalker car. God damn the Combine.
So if you ever do get back to making Half-Life 3, no more of that. What I did appreciate though was Alex's human reaction to being scared and having to take a moment, because I definitely did too.
I gotta catch my breath.
I feel like lesser characters would have immediately gone into making a quip right after the scary bit, but Alex gives it a minute before she comes up with this gem.
What the hell is that? A Combine zombie. That's like a zombine, right? Zombine, get it? Okay.
That's human, you know? That's a well-realised character. Number 2 isn't. Number 2 is Tails. This one's not deep or complicated. This one's simple. Introduced in Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Tails has been Sonic's best friend ever since, appearing in almost every game and almost every bit of non-game media for Sonic that was made following Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I don't think he showed up in Sonic Underground, but that show was just a litany of terrible decisions.
Sonic Underground, they made a vow their mother will be found.
The lore we all know is Sonic rescued Tails from being bullied by other foxes for having 2 tails. Are you different to other people in some way, and have you ever been bullied for it? Every single person there just nodded, so maybe we're not so different after all, and maybe we can all relate now to the friendship Sonic and Tails share. Tails looks up to Sonic after this and learns that he can spin his 2 tails that made him so different, to fly and to run almost as fast as Sonic. He's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer for the 90s, and you just know someone in a Sega Technical Institute boardroom said exactly that sentence. What I like about Tails though isn't just the school playground bullying dynamic and how Sonic's a cool guy because he cares about oppressed minorities, although he is, but how they developed Tails as Sonic games started to have voice acting.
Supercharged!
Don't get me wrong, his voice was never not annoying, but it was in those games that he really filled out his own niche in tech wizardry. It was always there in Sonic 2 with the plane and Tails' adventure on the Game Gear, but once he could talk about it in Sonic Adventure, it became part of his character, and his friendship with Sonic became much more even. They met because Sonic saw Tails in need and Tails idolised him for it. But very quickly, Sega made clear that Sonic and Tails were a team, saving the world from Dr. Robotnik together. Even if the Satam Sonic cartoon writers had other ideas, making him a literal child who had to stay behind while Sonic and Sally fought Robotnik. That never sat right with me.
That wolf is nasty, huh, Bunny? Nasty as a one-eyed snake, Sugar.
Tails is a cool dude, and he even keeps me company at my office holding my Game & Watch. That was a very thoughtful gift from my nephew Tommy when he was 8 years old, and I hope Sonic and Tails' friendship speaks to him and reminds him that he too can be a cool dude when he looks out for other people in trouble, and even if he's not the leader, he can find his role in the group where he can use his unique talents to stand out in his own way. And at number 1, it's the best sidekick, it's the best escort quest, and the best friend in all of gaming. It's the weighted companion cube from Portal.
The symptoms most commonly produced by enrichment center testing are superstition, perceiving inanimate objects as alive, and hallucinations. The enrichment center reminds you that the weighted companion cube will never threaten to stab you and, in fact, cannot speak.
Major story spoilers coming up for Portal 2! I'm serious! If you have not played and completed Portal 2, you must, right now, skip ahead to the last chapter of this video. Portal 2 is an incredible must-play game, and 5 seconds after this sentence ends, I will spoil some of the biggest reveals in it. So make sure you have played it from start to finish before you watch this part of the video. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so if you're still here, you've played Portal 2 and you probably know what's happening. But please don't spoil it in the comments. Number 1 on the list is actually Caroline. Or more accurately, GLaDOS. I don't need to tell you who she is, but I probably need to justify my choice a little bit for why the psychotic robot that spends most of 2 games trying to kill you is the best friendship in gaming. Listen, I've got some spicy friends, okay?
Well, you found me. Congratulations. Was it worth it? Because despite your violent behavior, the only thing you've managed to break so far is my heart.
Through the first game and through the first half of the second, GLaDOS is nothing but an antagonist to Chell. I don't know how best to put it, really. She's putting Chell through these test chambers, and not only is she delighting in how dangerous and deadly some of these tests are, but she's actively teasing Chell.
Look at you, sailing through the air majestically, like an eagle, piloting a blimp.
Not only about her ability in the tests and how likely she is to perish while taking them.
Please note that we have added a consequence for failure. Any contact with the chamber floor will result in an unsatisfactory mark on your official testing record, followed by death.
But about her personality.
Well done. Here come the test results. You are a horrible person. That's what it says. A horrible person. We weren't even testing for that.
And her family.
Tell you what, let's give your parents a call right now.
The birth parents you are trying to reach do not love you. Please hang up.
Oh, that's sad. But impressive. Maybe they worked at the phone company.
And it seems as though there's no limit to her cruelty. If you think about Portal for even a second outside of its comedic presentation, these games are super dark. But this is again a situation where GLaDOS and Chell kind of need each other. They only have each other. GLaDOS is Chell's only way out of the situation in which she finds herself, and Chell is the only human test subject GLaDOS has left and she needs so badly to test. This mutual dependence comes to a head in Portal 2, when Wheatley takes over the facility and GLaDOS, now a potato, needs to get it back.
You carry me up to him and put me back into my body, and I stop us from blowing up and let you go. No tricks. This potato only generates 1.1 volts of electricity. I literally do not have the energy to lie to you.
This is when we learn about Cave Johnson, former CEO and founder of Aperture Science, and his assistant Caroline.
The testing area is just up ahead. The quicker you get through, the quicker you'll get your $60. Caroline, are the compensation vouchers ready?
Yes, sir, Mr. Johnson.
Cave Johnson has his company develop an AI that can store his consciousness so that he lives forever, but he dies before its completion, and instead Caroline is forced, against her will, into this machine, and that's how you get GLaDOS.
If I die before you people can pour me into a computer, I want Carolyn to run this place. Now she'll argue. She'll say she can't. She's modest like that, but you make her. Hell, put her in my computer, I don't care. Alright, test's over. You can head on back to your desk.
Goodbye, sir.
As you complete tests in the old Aperture Science facility, GLaDOS learns more of her past as Caroline, and her latent humanity and actually working together does wonders for the relationship between Chell and GLaDOS / Caroline / a potato.
Carolyn, why do I know this woman? Did I kill her? Or... oh my god. Look, you're doing a great job. Can you handle things for yourself for a while? I need to think.
I think they genuinely become best friends, because who else have they got? Caroline is only one part of GLaDOS, of course. There's all the other personality cores and whatever else mixed up in there. And at the end of the game, you and GLaDOS successfully reclaim the facility from Wheatley, and GLaDOS saves Chell's life. Then this happens.
Oh, thank God, you're all right. You know, being Carolyn taught me a valuable lesson. I thought you were my greatest enemy, but all along you were my best friend. The surge of emotion that shot through me when I saved your life taught me an even more valuable lesson, where Carolyn lives in my brain.
Carolyn, deleted.
Goodbye, Carolyn.
Isn't that kind of beautiful? Just in terms of progression from where it started to where it ends, surely this has to be the greatest friendship in all of gaming. At least until GLaDOS deletes Caroline, which we're supposed to see as a sad thing. But remember, Caroline never wanted to be in there in the first place. She never wanted to be immortal. GLaDOS gives Caroline mercy by letting her go, and then does the same for Chell. Sometimes, you know, people get off on the wrong foot. We've all had that experience of starting a new job and not making the best first impression with a new colleague. But then as you work together, you toil together, you get to know one another, and you become friends. And you eventually miss each other when you move on. And that's what Chell and GLaDOS are. Work friends. The best kind of friends. Maybe. I don't know, I'm tired. Honourable Mentions! Elizabeth from Bioshock Infinite is a great character for sure, but not a great friend. Often mentioned when people make these sorts of lists and talk about the best NPC companions in games, but that's not what this is. If you've played it, you know why. If you haven't, you should.
What could be better than this?
Yoshi, also a common pick, but have you seen the Super Mario World cartoon? Yoshi is an irritating, manipulative narcissist who'll eat an entire buffet, then cry and say sorry while learning nothing.
Yoshi, you dinner-devouring dino brat! Leave some for the rest of us!
Oh, sorry.
Mario's no better though, jumping off Yoshi's back and flinging him into the abyss. They're just using each other. Ellie from The Last of Us, that's kind of a weird patriarchal relationship, and I don't think she and Joel are ever honest enough with one another to become friends, in my opinion. It's one of many tragic aspects to the series.
It doesn't matter how much you push the envelope, it'll still be stationary.
I bet you could also have some strong picks from Pokemon or Animal Crossing or Stardew Valley, but I'm not so experienced with those myself. This is my list, tell me yours. And finally, the Metroid series. Samus has gone through a lot of adventures, basically entirely alone. But Nintendo saw fit, finally, to give her a great friendship, to help her along and to ease the loneliness. The last honourable mention goes to the animals in Super Metroid that teach Samus how to wall jump.
They do a little dance and hop out of frame, showing off their wall jump. I don't think I'm exaggerating when I tell you that these wall jumping leprechauns are going to haunt me in my nightmares.
Happy holidays to all my channel supporters, but particularly to Liam, Sir Musty, Sonic Gamer, Soul in Sadness, Super Tap, Thankmar, Ultra Muffin and Visual Novel Archive. Pretty soon I won't be able to do that in one take, so thank you so much. All I want for Christmas is Patreon subs, so go down to patreon.com/theretrosofa and sign up, or join the channel membership on YouTube itself. You get perks, including access to the shiny new Discord. If you can't or don't want to support financially, I still really appreciate likes and subscribes and shares and comments and all that good stuff. And you know, thanks for just being here and for chilling with me on the Retro Sofa. Truly, yours is the best friendship in gaming. Frohe Weihnachten Und einen guten Rutsch. See you next year.
You know what? I'm gonna say I have an above average sense of timing.
Friends, friends, we all help one another. Friends, friends, it's good to care. Friends, friends, we listen to each other. Let's be kind and let's all share.